ladies, gentlemen, theys, and gays.
Nerdrotic.com.
This past weekend was DC Fandome, and for the second year in a row, I am impressed that a multi-billion-dollar corporation could produce something that bad. But at least we got a few minutes, arguably, of compelling footage, and that's what we are going to cover here, including the Batman trailer, the Flash teaser, and the Black Adam teaser. Now, every time I sit down to record a video, I understand that I'm not always going to have the popular opinion. Better that than be a shill. I am free of any strings being attached or anything being held over my head. I don't have to worry about not getting that interview with an actor who's going to forget about me in 30 seconds. I don't have to worry about not getting that gift basket that I'm later going to have to sell to help pay my rent with my 8 roommates, my 9 cats, and my 10 cup of soups. Now, some of you may or may not remember my last The Batman trailer reaction. It didn't get the best response in the world. It's one of the few times I've ever been ratioed. A little less than half of you liked it, and a little more than half of you didn't like it. But I really appreciate your direct and honest candor in the comment section. Now, has my opinion changed on the very scrawny Robert Pattinson? Has it changed on that costume, which looks like he has a trash bag for a cape? Has it changed on the overall plot, which is Batman Begins again? Except this time, it's different. It's a darker take on the character than the last darker take. Yes, I'll admit it. Before this trailer even begins, my opinions have softened on Robert Pattinson and this movie overall, probably because I've lowered my expectations on Hollywood overall. So let's take a look at the trailer. Warner Brothers will be receiving all of the revenue from this trailer reaction until I fight the copyright claim and win. And this looks like the Nighthawks painting, the famous diner painting that Matt Reeves is obviously paying homage to, and we know how much Jar Jar Abrams' disciples love to pay homage. Here come the cops. Police! There's the Riddler. Oh my God, police brutality. There's going to be a question mark in this coffee cup. Or latte. Ha ha! That wasn't that hard to figure out.
Fear is a tool.
Nirvana again.
When that light hits the sky, it's not just a call. It's a warning.
Okay. I think they've done the best they could with a very scrawny Robert Pattinson. I think the costume, while it's a step back from the Ben Affleck one, I will admit it's better than Christian Bale's in both Batman Begins and Dark Knight Rises. Wasn't a big fan of those costumes, but I really loved 2 of those 3 films. And it's better than the George Clooney one for sure. And at least he can turn his head. And yes, my opinions have softened on Robert Pattinson and this film because my expectations of Hollywood are at an all-time low. And I do realize this is the 6th modern cinematic version of Batman. We have Michael Keaton, Val Kilmer, George Clooney, Christian Bale, Ben Affleck, and now Robert Pattinson. And this will probably be the very last Batman that looks somewhat like the Batman in the comic books for a very long time, at least in my lifetime. A lot of energy with this Batman.
I've been trying to reach you. What have you done?
What did he say? Oh, what have you done? Yeah, that sounded just like it. What have you done? Yeah, it's hard to hear on the other side of the bulletproof glass in the prisoner's visiting area. That's why you pick up the phone, usually. I'm noticing a lot of very spastic energy with this Batman. So I think they're trying to tell us this is a Batman in his infancy, an immature Batman, a Batman Begins again.
This is about a king, and Riddler's the man.
Okay. And we'll rewind that back a little bit to hear what they're saying. Scrawny Batman. That is the debate that's going on between 10 or 15 people on Twitter right now. And there are some good points being made. There was Michael Keaton, who was very small and scrawny, and everybody was just fine with it. The other side of that argument is that was the first Batman we've seen in modern cinema, and we were willing to accept anything at that point, and it worked because Michael Keaton made it work. So Robert Pattinson can probably make this work, but he looks like he's 165 soaking wet. And according to DC's Who's Who, Batman is 6'2", 210 pounds. He has blue eyes and black hair. So he doesn't need to look like the Hulk. No one's ever asking for that. I'd say the Ben Affleck Batman is about as buff as you'd want him to get. Everybody has a different Batman in their head, I understand, but I think Neil Adams' Batman is the closest to the real one. And some argued that he wasn't always yoked up, but he has been for most of the time, but he didn't start out that way. And the only thing I would say is we need to be consistent. If I'm going to complain about 97-pound women beating the crap out of 300-pound Russian stuntmen, then the same has to go for the dudes. You got to make me believe. And so far, the trailer's done a decent job of that. I think the violence looks good. I think the aesthetic looks good. And I am just judging the trailer. I have my suspicions about the film that we will get into. All right, we're going to go back a little bit to the explosion here. And
This is about a king, and Riddler's the match.
oh,
I can take
there's
care
Zoe
of myself.
Quinn. I mean, Zoe Kravitz. Oh my God, not Zoe Quinn. No. Oh, I don't want to give Warner Brothers any ideas. She's fine as Catwoman. In the last trailer reaction, I said I would prefer Aubrey Plaza because she is the right shade of crazy and hot, but Zoe Quinn totally works. It's fine. I mean, Zoe Kravitz. I did it again.
If this continues, it won't be long before you've nothing left.
Sins of My Father. So is this going to be a Thomas Wayne thing, being crooked or bad? What savage is that the state Batman is in right now? Because he's still working out the whole Batman thing.
I don't care what happens to me.
No, it doesn't look like you care what happens to you. It looks like you want to cut yourself and listen to The Cure in this shot right here. Now, to be fair, he could be working out the Bruce Wayne persona here, and that could be an interesting story.
It's only going to get worse for you.
Is Catwoman counseling Batman this early on?
Whoa, take it easy, sweetheart.
That's impressive.
Hear everything they say, ain't you?
Maybe we're not so different.
I could be staring at my own reflection.
Who are you under there?
That's a good shot. That's a good shot. Batman's getting shot a lot.
I'm vengeance.
Bulletproof Batman. Well, that's going to be the source of some debate. The hardcore comic book fans are going to say Batman's not armored up, and I'm one of them. He's the kind of guy who could kick 72 Ninjas' ass, butt ass naked, with his bat dong flopping around, and that's not what we're going to get in this film. And if we're going to get a grounded Batman, a Batman Begins again, I guess it makes sense to have an armored suit. I don't know how practical that is. At least with Iron Man, he had that little gizmo that helped put his suit on. I don't know how long it takes Batman to put his suit on, including the eye makeup.
Vengeance.
I like the music.
Black and blue.
See, there it is again. So correct me if I'm wrong here, but it looks like we're seeing a Batman unhinged, one that is just pure rage at this point, who hasn't quite figured out what Bruce Wayne is going to be and what Batman is going to be. Batman Begins again.
And blue and dead all over. You. Dick.
Very dramatic. He's screaming again.
I got you! I got you!
Ah, that's cool. All right, I thought that trailer was much better than the first one. I like the action. I like the aesthetic. I like the music. I don't mind Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman or Jeffrey Wright as Commissioner Gordon or Andy Serkis as Alfred. I think they'll all be fine. Robert Pattinson is something that we'll just have to wait and see at this point. I remain a bit skeptical, but not necessarily for his performance, more about the writing of the film, because I think this is a good question to ask. Is this going to be a Batman that's emotionally stunted, that's led around by a far more capable and mature Catwoman? Because we've certainly seen that in other films before. It might not be the case, and that will be a good thing. If we just get a fun Batman movie, that's all anyone is asking for at this point, and it looks like it could be. That Colin Farrell makeup was brilliant, and the action and stunts look pretty damn good. Yes, it's a bulletproof Batman. Yes, the costume doesn't look that great, but I've seen worse. So it's growing on me a little bit. And hey, if this movie is great, I won't be the first one to tell you, but I will be one of many to tell you, and I will be happy because that's all I ever want. So let's go to The Flash. And now it's time for the Flash teaser, and we are going to skip the Ezra Miller introduction, who looks like he just got back from the Folsom Street Fair.
Tell me something. You can go anywhere you want, right?
Whose voice is that?
Any timeline, any universe.
Is that Keaton? Oh no. I'm not too sure about this costume. I was hoping for an update from the Snyder Flash costume, which I didn't like at all. I think the CW costume looks better. I don't think this is an improvement. Maybe we'll get a better look at it.
Why do you want to stay and fight to save this one? You changed the future. And you changed the past.
Oh, no. That looks terrible. What the? Yeah, not the best pick for a superhero, Ezra Miller. And of course, they had to put Michael Keaton and Ben Affleck's Batman in this film to get people to watch. And yeah, it's just going to be the Ready Player One of superheroes, DC's version. And of course, we're going to get Marvel's version with Spider-Man No Way Home. And while these might be fun to see, I just don't know how good of a story you're going to get out of it. They're obviously adapting Flashpoint, which had some very mixed reviews in the comic shop. I didn't mind it. I thought it was pretty good, but not everybody loved it. Okay. That looks a little better. Not much though. Oh.
Are you in?
Oh. Oh, we're going to see the Batmobile now. That's definitely the Batmobile. Of course not. All right. Well, I'm going to have to throw up the picture here when Ezra Miller's Flash says, "Are you in?" I thought that was 3 Ezra Millers. Turns out it was only 2. My bad. The one on the right is Supergirl. Yeah, they are going to mix a bunch of cringe characters with iconic characters from the past. So we will go see this movie. I can tell you right now, I probably wouldn't even bother if Michael Keaton's Batman and Ben Affleck's Batman weren't going to be in this film. This thing has been in production for, at least in pre-production, since 2016. So I'm not sure how this, and they're still filming it now. And it looks like there's going to be a bunch of delays because it looks like there might be a strike. We just had Marvel today change their entire schedule. And thankfully, Indiana Jones 5 was delayed for an entire year. More on that in a live stream or maybe a video if I have time. Not really sure if I want to talk about an Indiana Jones film that's going to flop. And might be worse than the last one, because the only thing worse than having Indiana Jones deal with UFOs is time travel. But that, again, that's a video for another day. All right. Yeah, we got to see the back silhouette of possibly a stuntman wearing Michael Keaton's Batman uniform, or maybe that was actually Michael Keaton. It did sound like it was his voice. And yeah, I want to see him come back, but I'd rather see him come back in a Batman Beyond film or a Dark Knight Returns film adaptation with Michael Keaton. I think that'd be great. So there's one more to take a look at. And here we have the very humble Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson announcing himself as the man born to play Black Adam. Maybe he is. Let's find out. Okay. Said Shazam. Boom. Oh, damn. That looked pretty cool, but it was short. So, yeah, this movie has been in production even longer than The Flash. I think we've been hearing about Dwayne Johnson playing Black Adam since, oh my God, it feels like decades, but it might be just like 15 years. I remember hearing about this at my comic shop in the early days. I'm a big fan of the JSA, so yeah, I could say I'm looking forward to this film, and we'll see if The Rock can play something besides The Rock in something and play a bad guy. Now, I remember The Scorpion King, which I think was his first role, where most of it he was just horrible CGI, but he's come a long way since then, hasn't he? And wrestling and all that. I wasn't into wrestling when he was there. I left after, my wrestling days were Rowdy Roddy Piper, Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff, Hulk Hogan, and so on. So what am I mostly concerned about? Well, it's Batman the Caped Crusader. It's Jar Jar Abrams taking a crack at repurposing one of the greatest animated series of all time. Batman the Animated Series is the GOAT. It will never have an equal, even if they have the same creative team or some of the same creative team come back and try to do it again. I have a lot of respect for Bruce Timm, and I was initially excited when I heard they were going to take another crack at it until I saw one name involved.
The 1990s award-winning show Batman the Animated Series was the first introduction to this iconic character for many current Batman fans. Fans were excited that original series creator Bruce Timm will be teaming up with James Tucker and two of the biggest names in television and film, J.J. Abrams and Matt Reeves, to reimagine the series for a new generation.
And no, this is not going to be a brand new cartoon. According to DC Fandom, this is going to be a repurposed, reimagined Batman the Animated Series.
I'm J.J. Abrams, executive producer of Batman Caped Crusader.
With Jar Jar Abrams as an executive producer.
The way we deal with the characters is going to be quite a bit more modern in terms of inclusivity, representation.
Oh, hello, ladies, gentlemen, theys, and gays.
And the destroyer of franchises comes for Batman and probably the rest of the DC universe. We know he's involved in a Superman film written by Ta-Nehisi Coates, and then he goes for Batman, the animated series, the greatest animated series of all time, because the guy's a wrecking ball of creative bankruptcy. And no, he's not going anywhere. Warner Brothers gave him $500 million to destroy their franchises, proving that Warner Brothers is the dumbest company on earth. Warner Brothers didn't give Jar Jar Abrams $500 million to just have a little influence over the DC universe. He's going to have a lot of it, and we're starting to see it. We're getting a woke Batman, the animated series, produced by Jar Jar Abrams. We're going to get a woke Superman, written by Ta-Nehisi Coates and produced by Jar Jar Abrams. Hopefully, the one outlier will be the Batman, although it is directed by a disciple of Jar Jar Abrams. We do have Michael Keaton coming back as Batman and Ben Affleck coming back as Batman. Unfortunately, it's in a movie with multiple Ezra Millers. Black Adam looks okay and the Peacemaker looks okay, but the rest of the 3 hours of DC Fandom was absolute garbage, and I am done. If you like what you heard, please like, share, and subscribe. If you didn't like what you heard, I thank you for listening this long. I will see you in the next video.
Nerdrotic.com. Please subscribe.